When the engines on the 737 flamed out, the crew knew they had to act fast.
We've lost power on the engines.
To have any hope of restoring engine power, they needed to first get the APU running.
The APU started.
Since the engines were no longer spinning, they had stopped ingesting air and water. But a successful restart was far from guaranteed.
If you do not have all the proper conditions, you can get what's called a hot start, which means that you have too much fuel for the amount of air going into it, and the flame will now migrate into the turbine where it could overheat it.
After studying the engine data from the flight recorder, investigators conclude that the overheating and ultimate failure of the engines was in fact due to a hot start.
Mayday, mayday, TACA 110. We lost an engine.
Both engines.
Both engines, sir. Both engines.
With his engines flooded with fuel and no time to properly drain them, Dardano hit the ignition switch.
If he didn't get all the timing correctly, then this is what's going to happen. You're going to get a hot start. I can't be critical of a pilot in that condition. That aircraft is coming down.
Rain and hail from an intense storm crippled a modern passenger jet and nearly led to disaster. Investigators must find a way to make sure it never happens again.
One of the beauties of aviation and aviation safety is when we find there's a problem, everybody works together to solve it. And in this case, the problem indicated a need for an engine change, not a complete design overhaul, but just a few tweaks. But that was done almost immediately, much to the credit of everybody involved.
The shape of the engine nose cone and the spacing of the fan blades are modified in order to better deflect hail away from the core. Also, additional bleed doors are added to drain more water from the engine.
That sort of thing hasn't happened again, and there are thousands and thousands of these engines flying every day for hours and hours and hours.
Within a year of the incident, 737-300s around the world are retrofitted with the upgrades. The plane involved in the daring landing is back in service within a month.
Look at that one over there. That's where we're going to go in.
You got it, my friend.
The crew's actions on Flight 110 are legendary in the aviation world.
The decision-making at the very end, when they were going to put it in the canal and saw an opportunity to put it on dry ground and did so, that was superlative. It was the decision-making.
Investigators credit the calm nerves and determination of Captain
Watch out for
Dardano
the wing on that side.
I see it.
for avoiding what could have been a fatal disaster. Captain Carlos Dardano is dubbed a hero in the media.
Passengers that day were overjoyed. Dardano and his crew kept the calm, and because of that, 45 people who rode that plane are alive today.